The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Chen Wei stepped forward to the crystalline podium. Around her, representatives from 17 different species watched with a mixture of curiosity and concern. The humans had been members of the Council for barely 3 solar cycles, yet already their reputation preceded them like a shockwave through civilized space. "The question before us today," announced High Arbitrator Veltar, her translucent form shimmering with diplomatic authority, "concerns the ongoing conflict between the Zephyrian Empire and the Karathi Federation. Both species have been locked in territorial disputes for over 200 years. We seek alternative perspectives on conflict resolution." The chamber's atmospheric processors hummed softly as various delegates shifted in their specialized seating arrangements. The Manthari representatives' compound eyes clicked nervously, while the gaseous Etherian envoy's containment field flickered with agitation. Chen Wei nodded slowly, her dark eyes scanning the assembled delegates. She had expected this moment would come eventually. Humanity's military history was no secret. Their databases were open to council review as part of membership requirements. What the aliens couldn't seem to grasp was the context behind those bloody centuries. "Honored delegates," Chen began, her voice carrying the weight of her species' experience. "You ask how humans would resolve this conflict. The answer is both simple and complex." Senator Clix of the Zephyrians leaned forward, his scaled hide rippling with anticipation. "We are eager to hear human wisdom, Ambassador. Your species has shown remarkable efficiency in previous conflicts." A subtle tension rippled through the chamber. The delegates were referring, of course, to the Blackwater incident, humanity's first major military engagement since joining the Council. When the predatory Vexhi had attacked the peaceful agricultural world of New Harmony, humanity's response had been swift, decisive, and utterly devastating. The Vexhi fleet had been annihilated in less than 6 hours, their surviving forces surrendering unconditionally. "The key," Chen continued, "lies in understanding what war truly represents. Most species in this galaxy approach conflict as a prolonged negotiation, a violent conversation with temporary pauses for diplomacy. You wage wars to make statements, to demonstrate resolve, to gain incremental advantages." The Karathi delegate, a insectoid being with mandibles that clicked rhythmically, interrupted. "And humans do not?" Chen's expression remained neutral, but something in her eyes hardened. "Humans wage war to end war. When we decide that violence is necessary, we don't aim for stalemate or marginal victory. We aim for conclusion." High Arbitrator Veltar's form brightened with interest. "Elaborate, please." "Your current conflict has lasted 2 centuries because both sides are comfortable with the status quo of controlled aggression. You've established rules, boundaries, acceptable losses. You've made war civilized." Chen paused, letting the word hang in the recycled atmosphere. Humans learned long ago that civilized wars aren't wars at all. They're expensive. Deadly theater. The Etherian delegate's voice resonated through speakers. "You suggest we abandon our ethical frameworks for combat?" "I suggest you abandon the pretense that prolonged conflict is ethical at all." Chen stepped closer to the podium's edge. "Every day your war continues, beings die. Resources are wasted. Entire generations grow up knowing nothing but hostility toward their neighbors. You've made peace impossible by making war tolerable." Senator Clix's scales darkened with anger. "You advocate for total warfare? Genocide?" "I advocate for decisive warfare," Chen corrected firmly. "There's a difference, though I don't expect you to understand it immediately. When humans fight, we fight to win completely. Not to humiliate, not to conquer for conquest's sake, but to create conditions where our enemies have no choice but to seek genuine peace." She activated her personal display, showing historical data from Earth. "My homeworld fought 2 global wars in the span of 30 years, devastating conflicts that killed hundreds of millions. But do you know what happened afterward?" The chamber waited in silence. The losing nations became our closest allies, not because we destroyed them, but because we helped them rebuild. We demonstrated that our goal wasn't domination, it was ending the cycle of violence permanently. The display showed images of reconstruction, former enemies working side by side. When someone surrenders to humanity, they're not surrendering to oppression. They're surrendering to the possibility of a better future. High Arbitrator Veltar's form pulsed thoughtfully. "And you believe this approach would work with the Zephyrian Karathi conflict?" Chen nodded. The war continues because both sides believe they can still win incrementally. Remove that possibility. Make the cost of continued conflict so overwhelming that peace becomes not just preferable, but inevitable. You're talking about threatening mutual annihilation, the Karathi delegate accused. I'm talking about demonstrating commitment to resolution. Chen's voice remained steady. When humans decide to end a war, both sides know we mean it. We don't bluff. We don't negotiate from positions of comfortable uncertainty. We create situations where the only rational choice is peace. The Manthari representative's compound eyes focused with laser intensity. And if they refuse to see reason? Chen's smile was cold as the vacuum of space. Then they discover why human military doctrine has a term called unconditional surrender. We don't stop fighting until there's no one left who wants to fight. The chamber fell silent again, but this time the silence carried weight, the gravity of species that were finally beginning to understand what they were dealing with. The choice, Chen concluded, is always theirs. They can choose peace now, or they can choose peace later after learning why humans prefer to finish what we start. But the war ends. That much is non-negotiable. High Arbitrator Veltar's form dimmed as she processed the implications. We will consider your recommendations, Ambassador. As Chen Wei returned to her seat, she could feel the shift in the chamber's atmosphere. The other delegates were seeing humanity with new eyes, not as another participant in the galaxy's endless conflicts, but as a force that could actually bring those conflicts to a close. The Galactic Council had asked how humans end wars, and they had received their answer. The question now was whether they had the courage to let humanity do what it did best, finish what others had started, and ensure it stayed finished. In the depths of space, the message was already spreading. When humans say a war is over, they mean it.